Juice 107.2.
Brighton's finest.
So do you know how you're going to celebrate the release of this album yet?
Yeah, we're doing 3 shows at a venue in Jersey City called Monty Hall. And it's beneath a very well-loved freeform radio called WFMU that's been around forever and is kind of known around the world. So we're playing 3 nights at Monty Hall, and then we're going to go on a bunch of tours.
So it's 12 years of writing and releasing music and touring under your belt. What's changed for you in that time and how you approach the music industry?
I don't think that we really keep the quote-unquote industry in mind at all. You know, we operate in like this, or came up in this little microcosm of like DIY punk that predated any kind of social media or even everybody having a cell phone. So we kind of like existed in this friendly little bubble of punk, and it's definitely like computers and phones and things have made the world bigger in some ways and smaller in other ways. But we've become privy to the quote-unquote industry more just because we have like this window into the world with the internet in our pocket all the time.
Sure.
But for the most part, I mean, the only thing that we really put into deep consideration is the people who like to come and see us play and our shows, and then making sure that we all are like creatively like satiated and we feel like we're doing something new and having fun, and that's it basically.
I think that's a pretty wicked approach. So you say you're always trying to keep things new and keep yourselves interested. How did you do that with this new album that's going to be coming out?
For Rose Mountain, we really focused on just kind of like boiling down what we typically do and making it something that's very concise, and focusing on like vocal melodies a lot and songwriting more than kind of like adding that extra riff because we think it's like cool. Like we really wanted to just get down to all of the really good parts and get rid of all the like trim the fat or whatever they say. So in this record, I think we just kind of like let ourselves have a little more freedom, and maybe adding that extra riff that we just like because we like it, and adding an amount of instrumentation that we wouldn't typically add. You know, there's like a lot of organ on this record, and there's Moog on it, which is something that we haven't really done that much in the past. There's some, you know, percussive elements that like maybe we wouldn't have really visited in the past. And then there's also moments on the record where there are songs that are a lot shorter than what we are typically accustomed to doing. And I think that having those shorter songs and those less complex compositions is actually us like trying to let ourselves go a little bit, you know.
So can you tell me about Glass House? It's a powerful song. It's the kind of song that I might play if I wanted to walk down the street and just feel really like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, glare at people.
Yeah.
We came up with the song, the actual like music, really quickly at practice one day. And then I went home with like a cell phone recording or something, and I wrote the lyrics. And it's, you know, it's vaguely, I mean, I guess this song is actually very much just about one thing. But it's about basically like being tied to the internet and screens and social media and news, just a deluge of like information that overcomes you and overwhelms you. And even though like now you're privy to so many of the goings on in the world and with your friends and all of that stuff, it still makes the world seem kind of weirdly small, and then you feel isolated. And it's not like a preachy song. I'm not telling anyone to throw their phone in the toilet or anything. It's just kind of like, this is the experience that I'm having with this thing that I know that we're all kind of struggling with in some way, shape, or form. So this is my experience. You know, maybe it's yours too. I don't know. And I certainly don't have a solution to it either. It's just kind of like, this sucks.
Okay. It sounds like there's kind of two things going on. And one is that you're continually learning and trimming the fat, as you say. And the other is almost having more confidence to take risks and do things that you wouldn't normally do. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think so. There was another person who interviewed us and mentioned that we used to try and fit all the potential dynamics of a song into one song. So we were like, okay, the song needs to have a quiet part and a loud part, and then like a build and all this stuff. And now we kind of are like, let's have the album be like the song, and it can include all those dynamic elements. We'll have a quiet song, and maybe there'll never be a loud part. Or then we'll have a song that just rocks and is like super loud. And we were like, oh, thank you for saying that, man, because we've been having a hard time trying to explain what we were doing to people.
So you're playing a big tour around May time to promote this album, and you're coming to the UK, which is very cool. You're going to be in Brighton for the last date of it. Do you know Brighton? Have you played here before?
We have, yeah, but it's been a really long time since we've been able to make it over to continental Europe in general.
So what have you got in store for your crowd in Brighton?
I mean, we don't have the same kind of history that we have in the UK. In the States, we have, the places we like to eat and, the songs we like to play and the people we want to see when we're in, different cities. But then in the UK, it's kind of we don't have any friends. And, we don't know what to eat or what to do. So even just, showing up and walking around for us is, everything is kind of new. And since we haven't been there in so long, it'll probably feel like we're starting from square one again. So all that we can hope is that some people show up and that we are able to, play well for them. That's definitely going to be what's in store. Okay. Hopefully a good set.
Yeah, well, it's at the Hope and Ruin, which is a perfect venue for you guys.
Cool, yeah. I've been there.
Finally, can you tell me about the song Deeply?
Yeah, Mike wrote that song at home with, a 4-track and a drum machine, and he played all the instruments, and then he sent Jared and I, a bunch of demos that he was working on, and that one stuck out to me. I remember wanting to work on that one, and when we tried to play it in Screaming Females, it just, was not working. I was, overplaying the main riff, and I was trying to, overcomplicate the song, and it sounded bad. And when we brought the demo to Matt Bayless, who made the new record, he was like, this sounds like the intro music to Sports Center. And we were kind of oh my God, that's a really succinct observation. It does sound like the intro music of Sports Center. So I took the song back home and I was just I'm just going to totally go in an opposite direction. And instead of it being a raucous kind of punk song, I just took everything away from it and made it this dirgy, organ-driven ballad, basically.
Juice 107.2.
Brighton.